Hey, 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 welcome back to the Evolution with Mac and Jen podcast. It is Jen here, and if you are watching the video, you would see here that I do not have Mac with me today. It's just me, and I'm super excited to be here. I feel like he does so much of the talking, which is actually really great because he always has really great things to say. But I also feel like sometimes it's good for me to just get on here like alone and talk. Especially because I love doing this podcast with him, but I also love doing it because I feel like it's just a really good opportunity for me sometimes to speak about what's on my mind and like let the energy out, and I feel like it's been really healthy for him, for me, and for our relationship to just get on here and share. So I'm just really excited to be here today. So thank you for tuning in. Today I'm not really exactly sure where this conversation is going to go, but I kind of wanted to talk about like the rise of the divine feminine, because I feel like that's something that's like really prevalent right now in this time because I think women are waking up to the fact that things need to change, and it starts with us. Um, I think there's kind of a divide between women where it's like some women um you don't know what you don't know, right? And so I think there's some of us who like don't want to do it all, and there's some of us who want to do it all. And the difference between the two is the ones that want to do it all, I feel like I don't want to trigger anybody because that was me. I was the one that wanted to do it all back in the day when I realized I don't have to do it all, and I actually want peace and I actually want bliss more than I want to do it all. But I feel like when we're in the do, go, mode, wanting to do it all and thinking we need to do it all in order to receive something, that puts us in our masculine energy. And when I was doing that, I was doing it because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And I was doing it from a place of not enough, which is why when I was in that mode doing all the time, I felt like I wasn't happy, but I also had this thought of like, I felt like I was losing myself. And I think a lot of us get to a point in life where we do feel like we're losing ourselves. And like, this is why we get to that. Cause it's like, um, and it's totally fine because we're not taught what we're not taught, and we're all doing the best we can with what we know. But it's like once we get to learn better, then we get to do better and be better. And this whole like rise of the divine feminine and like stepping into our feminine, I think is really cool because not only are we rising up, but we are inspiring men to rise up as well and to heal, and heal their wounds, because when we as women rise, what we're doing is we're healing and we're letting go. And when we let go, we inspire our men to step up back into their quote unquote power and take that control back and be the leaders they were meant to be. And I feel like when we as women are kind of stuck in the mode of wanting to be the leaders and in control of everything and do. Um, I feel like men, we are the ones taking their power away when we do that. And they kind of sit back and they've let it happen because they think that's what we want and they're trying to please us. And in the moment, it feels like that's what we want, but in reality, that is not what we want because that is what causes us to feel like we're losing ourselves. So, like, when I was in my marriage, my first marriage, um, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't know anything about masculine and feminine energy. I did not know anything about like how to even create a loving, healthy marriage because these are things that we're not taught in school. Like we're not taught this. And the truth is most of us don't even have examples of what healthy marriage looks like, but also just like we don't know, we're not taught how to be happy. We are taught like we are programmed our entire lives and we pick up on conditioning and beliefs that turn into our reality and what we think we're supposed to do. And so we're all running on what we think we're supposed to do in order to live a good life, but nobody's actually taught what to do. And so in my first marriage, I was just me in my life going through the motions. Um, and I didn't know, the importance of kind of letting my husband at the time be the leader. And so, but I was always the one trying to take control. And it wasn't like I was taking control in a bad way. It was just me, um, kind of, we were married for 7 years and over time, it was me like doing like little criticisms or like little, not trusting in his ability to make decisions and me thinking my way was a better way. And so I would, say things or do things. And over time, it was kind of like I was just kind of kicking him down, kicking him down, kicking him down to the point where he just kind of didn't do anything anymore because he thought that's what I wanted. And in turn, because he kind of stopped doing things, I was at this point now doing everything but feeling very alone. And this is why a lot of times I'll say like I used to cry in bed at night. Um, but not just cry, like I would drink my pain away. I had a lot of pain inside and I would just be like, I just wish he would step up. And it was because like I wanted him to step up because and I was like losing myself trying to me do everything. Um and I wasn't made to do everything. And so, and in while doing everything, I also wasn't taking the time or knew the importance of taking a moment to breathe and take care of my own self. You might call it like I wasn't filling up my own cup. So I was constantly go, give, do, try to make everything look good, look perfect, look right. Um, he was off over here because I have beat him down so much over time, which is little criticisms, and kind of trying to control him that he was like, I'll just let her do it. That's what she wants. And I was just in this constant mode of like chaos and in my mind and just I was just not happy. I'm losing myself. And so I was drinking all the time and trying to make everything perfect while also at the same time I was working and a mom, like, trying to do everything. And it was exhausting. And I just remember laying in bed at night thinking, I just wish he would step up. I would wish he would step up. But the truth is like I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it meant for him to step up, but I also didn't realize that in order for him to step up, I had to step down and I had to, you know, stop. I just had to let go. Like letting go was what I needed to do. And eventually that's what I did was I just let go because at the end there, and I think when we all get to a point where we're like, we're just done, it's like, you know what, I'm done with this. And like, that's when we get to the point where like, we want a divorce at that point. Cause it's like, clearly this is not working. It's not working for me. It's not working for you. And so we divorce, but the problem is if you don't do the work to heal and figure out the problem, you will literally just repeat it somewhere else. And so once we got divorced, I was like, I need to figure this out because I don't want to recreate this. I want to live a life where I feel happy and peaceful and at bliss. And in order for me to do so, that meant I had to heal and I had to let go of that control, but not just let go of the control. Like I had to learn to trust men, not just trust men, but like trust my man, you know? Some of the ways I would control my ex-husband without even realizing the damage I was causing was like one example might be he'd load the dishwasher and then I would unload it and reload it because he didn't do it right. Or he would, get Cameron dressed and ready for school, and I would say something like, "Well, why did you put him in that?" I was questioning his every move, and I wasn't trusting him to do anything. And over time, my lack of trust in him, kind of beat him down. And I take a lot of responsibility for the way that our marriage looked. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, like it wasn't all bad. We had really great times. We had a lot of fun too. We went on a lot of vacations and all the things, but a lot of our fun did revolve around alcohol. Um, so it's like it's fun until it's not fun, you know? But that was kind of our life. So like I feel like ultimately the alcohol and like we were really growing apart. That was kind of ultimately what ended it. But there was, both of us were not showing up as our best selves inside the marriage. And that's why it seemed like there was constant like frustration. Why I was drinking all the time, why I was feeling like I was failing was because I was trying to be the one in control of everybody, in control of everybody's happiness, in control of everybody's perception of me and our family. And, I had a way of doing things and I thought my way was the best way, the only way. And over time it just beat him down. And so he would go drink in the garage alone, like without me. And we kind of it was like at one point where we were living two separate lives, where you can see when I go like this on the camera, there's a suitcase behind me. um that we were living two separate lives, but pretty much like roommates were, because we were both like so unhappy in the marriage. I felt like, if we were really being honest, um we were like roommates. We didn't fight that much, but we also there it wasn't a relationship full of love and passion and joy, where there was two people who felt safe. Like there was none of that. And so I just knew, I'm like, okay, we're gonna get divorced. That was kind of the final what we decided. And before we were even officially divorced, that's when I went deep dive into, how do I not recreate this? Like, how do I be happy? How do I create a marriage or a relationship with somebody that's full of like love and passion and joy, where we're like happy and in love and inspiring each other? And like, I do not want to repeat this pattern at all. And so I really had to start, like, I went through a period where I was really doing a lot of like healing, because like I got sober before him and I got divorced. So I was already on the journey to healing. I was already like changing my mindset and switching my focus to more gratitude, and already starting to realize like I can create whatever I want in my life. Like I am the creator. And so when we got divorced, I decided we're going to have a better co-parenting relationship than we did marriage. Like I decided that. And And then I created that. I'm going to create a relationship full of passion and love with somebody that I can fully respect and trust. And and so when I was dating, like, I was very intentional, about letting go of everything that was not right for me until I finally got to Mac and I was like, okay, this guy, he's different. He was definitely more aligned with who I am and where I want to go and where we're going together. But he's also somebody I was like, this is a man that I can trust. And when I say trust, I mean I can trust in his ability to make decisions and I can trust that he can lead me in a healthy way, which is exactly what I wanted because I do not want to be the leader. I do not want to be the decision maker. I do not want to be in control. I want to feel happy, at peace. I want to feel supported and loved. Like I want to be a woman that is able to trust men and trust that the universe has my back and trust that my man has my back. And you can't I feel like you don't just once you realize like what you want and what needs to happen in order for you to get it, you don't want to just give your heart to any man because us women who are stepping more into this divine feminine where we let go of control and we learn how to trust, not just trust the universe and trust men, but we also learn how to trust ourselves. And that just comes with like the healing, right? Because I trust myself that I'm not going to put myself in a situation with a man who will crush my heart, right? Or I trust myself not to put myself in a situation with a man who's going to, you know, beat me or anything like that. Like I trust in my ability. Like I had to learn how to trust in my ability to make decisions on who and what gets my energy and time. And that came with healing. Um, and so as women rise up and we realize, so we like some people will say this idea of like letting a man lead you is kind of going back to like the 1950s. Sometimes when I post or make comments online, women are like, "We're not in the 50s." And I'm like, "That's fine. Like we're not in the 50s, but in the 50s like women, I don't know, seem to be just a little bit more relaxed." And then women decided, you know what? They went from the 50s to like, we can do everything men can do and we don't need men and then it was kind of like we're canceling men and with that canceling of them, thinking, we can do everything they can do and we don't need them. The truth is like we can do a lot of what they do, maybe not everything, but we can do a lot and we don't necessarily need them, but we do need them. Like we do. And so the energy of we don't need men is not going to attract a real man to you. I'll just say that. Um, and so, we go through this thing where it's like we want to cancel the men, but then there's some of us women who are like, uh-uh. Like like me, I've realized I need Mac. I need a healthy masculine man in my life that can support me and I can support him. And we can support each other in being the best versions of each other, where he is the leader and I can trust in his ability to make decisions and be okay with him and what he, how he leads me. And I can, I myself get to let go and not try to control everything in every situation and be the one in charge. And I just get to allow things to happen. And that is what the feminine, we do is once we kind of heal our wounds and learn how to trust, we can let go. And it's in the letting go and in like the surrendering where you find that true like peace and happiness where you feel like where you don't feel like I'm losing myself. When we feel like when we lose ourselves and we want to kind of find ourselves again, in that finding ourselves is letting go and stepping more back into the feminine essence of who we truly are, where we can just be. Like we don't have to where we don't feel like we have to do to be worthy, we can just be to be worthy. And that is the place where we want to be. And so if we can, learn to let go and surrender, we'll be much happier. And it's hard to think about letting go and surrendering because we think or we've been told we have to do and in order to receive. But it's funny because it's like the more you let go, the more you actually receive. And so I had to go through this journey of learning this. Um, because because I was to a point where I was so miserable. I was miserable because I had a mask on. I had I would call it the masculine mask on because I didn't trust anything else to guide me or lead me. And so part of healing is just learning to let go and trust. And I love that. And so my part of my story is just going, once I was dating and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to recreate what I already created. Um, by what I did here, I was criticizing my ex-husband a lot. I was trying to control a lot. And I was, because of who I was at the time, I was not open. And so because of those reasons, he just allowed me to do what I did, which in turn did not empower any of us to be the best versions of ourselves. And so, it's, I would say my fault, but his fault kind of too for not kind of putting me in my place. But also he didn't know what he didn't know. And so we had two people who were trying to quote unquote make a marriage work, and we didn't have any guidelines or any examples or any, like, we weren't consciously creating. We were both reacting to what we were creating unconsciously. And so, it was nobody's fault, but it was both of our faults. But it was like, okay, now that we know better, we get to do better. And so now, once I met Mac and was like, okay, this guy fits my vision. And I wasn't, when I was dating, I wasn't attaching to people, I was attaching to how I want to feel because I want to feel like I want to feel safe. I want to feel supported. I want to feel a sense of certainty. I want to be having fun. I want to be growing. I want to be connecting, right? Like, how do I want to feel? And so when Mac came along, I never got like those feelings were all there. He was giving me certainty. I felt safe. We were connecting, we were growing together, constantly having fun, like, and I was creating it, but he was, showing up inside of that, and that's why I married him, because he's, he's exactly what I wanted. But the other thing is let me take a sip really quick. I have to, if I want Mac to be the leader and I want him to make the decisions and I want to feel supported by him and safe by him. I have to be a woman that can trust him and trust the decisions that he makes. And doing that by remembering and knowing and telling myself, he's 43. He is a 43-year-old man. This is not his first rodeo. Like, he has survived long enough without me. I don't need to tell him how to drive. I don't need to tell him how to load a dishwasher. I don't need to tell him how to dress. Like, I don't need to control his decisions. I get to trust that he knows how to load it. He can load a dishwasher. He can, make decisions with money. Like, he knows what he's doing. I don't need to be in control of these things. And I can just let all of that go and trust that everything is going to work out the way that it's supposed to. And sometimes for the ladies that are listening, that might be like, my husband can't make decisions. He has no idea what he's doing. Anything like that. Like, we can have those beliefs, or we can just really choose to trust. And when I say choose to trust, I mean, and empower them to do so. Like, I choose to not be in control. I choose to trust that Mac can make decisions with the intention of, like, everybody's benefit, right? Even if I feel like Mac makes a makes a wrong decision, or makes a decision that may not be what I would have decided, right? If it's not hurting anybody, or if it's like, you know, if it's we may have a discussion about his decisions, but ultimately, I trust that no matter what he decides, because he is a man worthy of trusting, um, I trust that even if it's quote unquote the wrong decision or something I wouldn't have decided, I trust that it we're gonna go with it because he is the leader. I don't want to do it. And even if it's the wrong decision and there's some challenge inside of it, it's still the right decision, because it was the decision that was needed, and that is what needed to happen in order for our growth. So it's okay. So I let go of the idea that there's gonna be wrong, like, there are no wrong decisions, because everything that happens is what's needed to happen. Even if it might not be what I choose, or he may do something different, like he may load the car different than I load the car. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, I just let it go. I just let it go, because instead I choose to appreciate that he's doing it and that he's taking control. And it's really funny because um I say, you fear men that are in control. I fear men that have no control. like like we want men that that are making decisions, but from a conscious place too. And so as we rise and as us women step up and choose to let go, I know that we are also empowering some men to step up and choose to learn how to take back control in a healthy way. And so as we rise, they rise, and we rise together, and we start creating truly what feels good, and we heal, and we start healing. Um, when the boy heals, the man appears. When we heal as women, like when we stop letting our inner child run the show, and we step into what I call that queen energy, like that's we heal that. We we don't life looks a lot different when the queen is running the show versus your inner child. And our inner child, typically all these women that their lives look like chaos, their relationships look like chaos. We're really just a bunch of children in adult bodies with a lot of wounds. We don't trust. We don't know how to let go. Men don't know how to lead. Um, they've never men, especially men these days too, that have been raised by like moms without dads in the lives, like they've never been taught how to be men. They've been they've been taught and told, single moms. I was a single mom, and I tried really hard not to do this, but single moms are really good at talking shit about men. And if you are raising a little boy and he hears you talking shit about men, and he's like, "But I'm a boy, I'm a man, and mom doesn't like men." What does that gonna tell this little boy? How is that little boy gonna grow up perceiving himself? Like, right? And so we need to be really careful with the words that come out of our mouths, and how we do this, because I didn't when I was married to my first husband, I didn't appreciate really much of anything. I think I did, but no, I did. I was grateful. Like we had a great house, all the things, but I just didn't appreciate or understand the importance of appreciating fully the men in my life. I was pushing them away and dismissing all of them, which is why my husband and I were roommates. I thought I was better at everything. I could do everything. I didn't, you know, and over time that just beat him down to the point where he pulled away, and I felt alone, and um, realizing that no, like I do need men. I do need support. I do need help sometimes. And I do want that too. Like I want that. So in part of my healing journey, I was, you know, how can I receive? Like I was looking for ways to receive, and looking for evidence that the universe was supporting me, and looking for evidence of the men in my life who do support me and take care of me, and allowing that like to happen, and allowing myself to be okay with not needing to be the one taking control of everything, because I don't want that anymore. Like, I do not want to be in control. I do not want to make all the decisions. I do not want to, I just don't want to. I don't want to. And the more that I just let go and just trust that everything is working for me, um, however it looks, I just trust. Okay, this is what we needed. If this is a challenge, this is what we needed to grow. Okay, let's do this. And just trust that everything's working for me and everything's going to be okay. I don't need to step up. And what's really interesting is that when we let go and men actually kind of do step up, they find that they're in their power when they do so. And they actually love it. They love making the decisions. They love taking charge. They love solving problems. All right, great. You do that. You do that, and I will just sit back here and I will file my nails until you tell me what the fuck to do. I don't care. And this way of relationship and seeing things and doing things, yeah, maybe it sounds like the 1950s. Like I don't care, because I have been stuck in my masculine energy, and that is not a place where I want to be, and I don't ever want to be back there. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I do make decisions and take control, but ultimately, like if Mac is around, I'm like, what do you want to do? Like today we went to a parade thing, and he was like, well, we could either park here, or we could, closer and try to find a spot, or we could park over here and walk a little farther. He's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I just said, whatever you think is best. Whatever you think is best. And, so we got there and he just parked and it was great. We got out of the car and walked to the parade. And I didn't make the decision and I just, rather than me telling him what to do, I just said, "Whatever you think is best," let him make the decision and he did and it was perfect. And so it was just like empowering them to do it and just know like it's gonna be great no matter what happens. And like I said, remembering too that even if our men in our lives do make a mistake, it's just remembering everybody's doing the best they can with what they know. And when we know better, we get to do better. I do believe that had I known a lot of what I know now, I could have quote unquote saved my first marriage if I really wanted to. I 100% believe that. And with the skills that I know now, I believe um, that marriages can be saved. But I also know that, the drinking thing for us would have probably been an issue, but perhaps if I would have shown up different in my marriage, perhaps he may drink less. Because if he was more in his power and felt empowered to like be himself, perhaps he would have not felt the need to drown out his pain like I was drowning out my pain. So, um, so yeah, that's very interesting. But, and then I do believe that if we don't heal our issues kind of at the root and get to the bottom of this, we will recreate patterns. And so it's important to understand where did it go wrong so I can make it right next time. And not also that, but yes, but like where was my responsibility inside of all of this? Because I was the one that created a lot of our problems without even knowing what I was doing, you know, telling redoing his loading of the dishwasher sounds like such a silly thing, and in the moment you think you're being helpful, but you are killing your husband, and you are every time, kind of hitting him in the stomach or in the balls like, "Nope, you don't know how to do that. Let me do it." Punch, right? And every single time it just disempowers him more and more and more, which makes you step up into your masculine more and more and more. And that's the problem. And so we get to be better at learning to appreciate each other, learning how to trust each other, learning how to understand each other. I feel like love is seeking to understand, and when I say that, I mean, like, understand that, like, men and women are different. Our men in our lives, do things differently. Like I said, they want to be the one in control. They want to make the decisions, and that empowers their best selves. Where us, when we are wanting to be in control and wanting to make all the decisions, that is coming from a wounded place. And so we are not the same. um we are different and we get to learn how to understand each other and see like, men communicate different than women communicate different than men, and rather than judging each other for not being like each other or doing things the way that, if I were to judge him that, you're not doing it the way I would do it, so I'm going to judge you and be angry. That's not the way to do things, because it's remembering like we're different creatures who think different, do things differently, and we need to learn to appreciate each other's differences and come together. And rather than judge each other, we get to seek to understand each other and remember that like we're on the same team here of just we both want to be happy. We both want to feel empowered. We all want to feel like our best selves. And we get to do this, but we have to get a little conscious and and take the time to actually like figure this out, like, and do things different. Like, if we want different, we get to do different. And it takes some intentional thinking and intentional work to be able to create what you want to create rather than just go through life reacting to the circumstances, which is what I used to do, which is what um is not, it's just not fun. So I appreciate, I'm going to end this in just a second, but I appreciate um the work that I've put in to learn a lot of this and understand a lot of this and learn how to empower my man, but also not just empower him, but empower me to be my best self. Like, I take time to do self-care. I take time to fill up my cup so I can give to everybody else. I don't give from a needy place anymore. Like, I take time to heal and love on myself so I can be my best self for the people that I love. And I appreciate what I've done to get to this place. And I appreciate the people that come into my life who also want to learn and get to this place, which is why we have our membership and why we work with people on, stuff like this, because inside the membership, we talk a lot about aligning with our desires so they manifest faster. And like, so there's people in there doing business stuff, but relationship stuff. We all have goals and wants and desires, and we all want to live this like amazing life that we just love. And relationship is a huge part of that. Relationship with yourself, relationship with others. And I feel like, most of us don't get to a point where we want things to change until the pain of where we're at gets big enough. And that's what happened to me. My pain was big. I was drinking all the time. Then I got sober because the pain was big enough. And then it was like in the relationship, like a divorce is a pretty big blow. And it's like, oh, something needs to change here. And I realized starts with me because I definitely played a role in creating this. And if I can see how I created it, I can see how to create it in the opposite direction moving forward, which is why with Mac, I am a lot more conscious of the way that I am showing up so I can, be my best self for him, and empower him to be his best self for me. And so it's a really beautiful co-creation. And I will say just the one thing, make sure you don't do is like, don't fucking criticize. Like, nobody wants to be criticized. And so we get to learn to let go. And it just gets to be really great. Mm, so I'm going to end this now. I hope you took something out of that. And if you have any questions for me, um, you can find me on Facebook. That's probably the best place. Jenn Lockhart Grant is my name on Facebook. I kept the Lockhart on Facebook. That's my maiden, or not my maiden, but my first marriage name, because everybody knew me as Jenn Lockhart. So when I married Mac, I just added the Grant on the end. So Jenn Lockhart Grant is how you can find me. You can send me a message. Our membership is a really great place to stay connected. You get weekly coaching from both me and Mac. And I love this work. I love supporting people in creating amazing, beautiful lives. And I love you. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you next week.